Hello, and welcome to this gathering, this encounter, this circle of intentions that we used to create now and then when we feel that we are somehow overflowing of inspirations, ideas, and will to share. I'm Rama Flores. I've been doing these kind of exchanges through the internet for some time, not too much time. Uh, I started to make this in the pandemics, and I realized that it was a way to spread the pollen like a flower, spreading the pollen to uh, un, unpredictable landscapes. From this, I've been meeting people from far east, far Asia. I've been meeting people from Africa, meeting people from North America, from other parts of South America. Actually, I live in the northeast of Brazil. Today is a very pleasant day, shiny day without clouds. I'm looking into my window. Uh, my body's a bit aching in my back. Well, I'm just showing you how I feel because I don't want to be just an image in your screen. I'm a person who wants to connect with you. Uh, Today, we will try to explore this beautiful aspect of our world, the flow of earth. Like, I think it is a poetic image. The earth as flowing, as changing, exchanging, and changing and transforming. We used to live in a kind of mood. Just bear with me this idea. We used to engage with the world with a kind of mood related on how we uh, absorb that mood from childhood, from culture, from family, from the way we speak out and speak into our heads. So we recreated reality in a mood that make us feel comfortable, in control, and in a stable world. Fluency, flow, is not an attribute to the earth, to the world. Everything seems to be stable. Maybe the branches are moving a bit, the wind is blowing a bit, but everything is in place, right? But actually, if we have, if we are patient and sensitive enough, we will realize that everything is changing. The sun is moving, the lights are changing, the shadows suddenly were here and maybe half an hour are there. Uh, the presence of the people around us are changing. Inside myself, there's a flow of emotions and thoughts and wills and desires. And I say this because I want to bring the possibility to perceive and be participant in the flow of earth. I'm talking from the perspective of not a scholar, on this subject. I'm not a philosopher. I'm actually a gardener. I've been playing with the earth in my hands from childhood. I'm still doing it. I grew up in a suburb of a South American city in the south part of South America, in Argentina. And I was always in love of the possibility of the earth as changing uh, colors and smells and textures. I was always a hand person. I love to touch. I love to feel with my hands. I love to think with my hands. I love to create with my hands. So I had always this direct experience with the participants on my little garden. Then, for many reasons, for many adventures that I took, decisions that I made in my life, suddenly, when I was a bit older, I found myself in the middle of the mountains in the Andes in Peru, in the southeast part of Peru. And I met these beautiful people, this beautiful tribe, Queros Nation, peasants, farmers, gardeners, as me. So I was I got intimate very easily because I understood their experience. Actually, I went as an engineer, but that sign of being an engineer fall apart a few days after I met them. We went to the fields. We went to play in the fields. We went to feel the earth with our hands. We smell the earth. They live in the high mountains of the Andes, in the eastern part of the Andes, very close to the Amazon. So they live in the top of the mountain, in the borders of the world, you could say, like the Himalayas. They live in a very difficult, harsh, and difficult conditions for a human being. Very cold. There's no trees growing in the valleys because it's too high. It's like 5,000 meters above sea level. So they are very vulnerable, fragile to the climate, to the world. Their world is like a threat. But I didn't saw that. I saw people very gentle, very sensitive, very creative, very warm. And from that point, I I've been meeting them for many years, studying with them. I become a disciple for many of their masters. And I realize that they are, I don't know if you can translate this in English, feelers, in the sense of they have developed a very important quality to engage with the world. Feel. Feel like a broad word to bring some qualities of encounter with the world. One of them is our senses, obviously, our body in contact with the landscape. In a valley, wherever you live, in a valley, in the city, or in the countryside, wherever you live, your body is the window to allow the world to come in, right? So you feel from your senses. So the senses opens ourselves to the dynamic and the changeable, animated world we live. I mean, I know that we have learned that there are animals, there are plants, and the rest are dead or not alive. But that's just a cultural idea. In the high Andes, they perceive that everything is animated, that everything is alive. And it's not just alive, it's alive because it has an intent, an intention. And I took a lot of time to understand or perceive that. The intention of the stones, for instance, or the intention of a tree, other than just living, surviving, flowering to create fruits, to create another tree. Not just that, not survivance, but a kind of intention. And that intention, as a river, converges with every other being that share the place and the time. In the Andes, they call this the the stage where all the beings live together, Ailu, like the extension of beings of actors playing together in the same role, and that doesn't just limitate to human beings or plants or other animals. Everything is part of this stage. Everything is animated. And as we expand our senses, we can perceive their intention. I call that the perception of the intentions of the world flow. Because the intention is not something stubborn, something fixated, something uh, even structured. It's a dynamic flow that make us not just interact, but resonate like music, like the wind sings in a tune that makes the trees answer to that tune, and the birds and the children playing in the playground and the monkeys jumping in the branches. Suddenly, everything and everyone sings along like a symphonic tune. The flow is present in our life. Sometimes, when we are open with our senses, when our senses are open as a window open to the spring, we realize that we can feel the flow and we can participate to the flow. The flow is part of us because we are never out of that flow. As I said, humanity forgot the need, the dependence of the living fabric of reality. And we have this nonsense of encapsulate ourselves in very structured, very comfortable, very dull, very poor capsule that we call reality. Poor because it lacks the flow. It lacks the flow. The flow enriches uh, uh, the, the, the connection with the world. Every time we feel a flow, we feel somehow overflowing, like in some kind of freedom of the cage we created, the capsule we created around us. We feel the renewal of living childhood during our adulthood. That kind of feeling. In in the Andes, I met these beautiful people, old people, young people, and children, all the same in the same mood. Um, a feeling of meeting people from other kind of of, of inner color, kind of another soul, innocence in its more delicate and beautiful way, innocence of realizing that, for instance, a change of wind, you realize that the wind changes direction and intensity. And sometimes when it changes, it affects us as much as we are open to those changes. They are very aware of this, and I had many stories about this. When we were about to climb a mountain to give our devotion to this mountain called Huamanlipa. We were walking very early in the morning, and the leader of the group, Don Matias, a beautiful healer and priest from the Cross Nation, he was walking slowly in the pace of the mountain people. They walk firm and steady and firmly, not too fast, but very strong pace. And suddenly he stopped, and he was just silent, trying to perceive something. So I was with other friends joining him, and he stood just like a minute in silence, and suddenly he came down with us and said, "Okay, we are not going up." And I said, "Why?" "Because the wind is saying me that it's not opportune for us." Obviously, as we grew up in this kind of societies, when we are witness of that kind of thing, that kind of attitudes, we say, "This guy is crazy," or is just mental ill somehow. But the thing is, as he was the leader, we didn't have an other choice to come down and call it off. Later on, and this is one of the conditions of the high Andes, the weather is changing very fast. Later on, like an hour later, it was snowing very hard, very hard. And I realized, well, I thought maybe he saw the mountains and the clouds coming and the snow in in the clouds, or he listened to the broadcasts, something like that. And I asked him later, how did you perceive that? How? That's a very common question for us. We want to know the the functioning of things. We want to dissect processes to feel more comfortable, to feel more secure. And he said, well, Taitawaira, which is the wind, the spirit of the wind, said to me that he was angry and he didn't want us to come up. And I said, you listen all that with words, not with words, with whispers, he said. And for me, that was just, at that point, was something like out of my world, like kind of crazy thing. But then I realize, and maybe you can realize with me, that as we can develop or redevelop or letting come back our senses, the senses, together with our imagination, together with our intuition, all these aspects that make us this kind of animal, human being, make us create some grade of intimacy with everything, with everyone, especially with those forces that are organizing principles of the landscape: the earth, the wind, the sky, the sun, the moon, the other animals, the plants. As an individual, but as well as a community of individuals. I'm trying to say that reality, as my masters told me, is a kind of a fabric that is intertwined. As we open ourselves to this kind of alignment, which is open our senses, our imagination, and our intuition to it, we can perceive flow. And flow in Andean traditions, there's a specific word for it. I love this word because it sounds a flowing word, which is, I'm going to write it in the chat. It's called Aini. Aini. Just listen to that word, Aini. I'm referring to Quechua language. Quechua language is the language they use, and it's very onomatopoeic. And what is an onomatopoeic language? It's a language that allows the landscape to talk to us through the words. There are many words with ch, p, ch, like stones falling from the walls of the mountains. Like there are other like winds, like waira, wind. Sounds. Even the word in English, wind, sounds like a flowing word. Aini is a fluent, flowing word. And it's related to a very beautiful word. It's called Ainai, which is flowering. So, Aini, literally, I can translate it as reciprocity, reciprocity is a kind of dynamic or interchange or communication or conversation, dialogue with the other, interchange. And that is a figure of flowing. A conversation is a flow. I say something, you listen, and then you say something in as an answer. And that answer shapes my mood. I get angry, or I get in love, or I get uh, mm, worried, and then I answer back, and then you get joyful, or you get sad, and you answer back, and there's a flow in a conversation. A proper conversation, is fluent. It is flowing. Aini is a conversation to the big conversation, the big dialogue. The flow of the earth is a big gathering with all the actors, all the protagonists that live together in this island, wherever you live. Not in the high mountains. It's not just in the high mountains. It's in your place, in your city, it's in your neighborhood. There's a flow, there's a music that we share together. And as soon as we attune with it, as soon as we align ourselves, we can sing together. And that make us perceive that everything we feel is not just me. There's a correspondence with everything. Every time we get angry, it's not just because my little world creates this or happens in my shell. There's a correspondence with the wind. There's a correspondence with the season. There's a correspondence with other people, with other trees, with other animals. As soon as we open up to that, we can perceive that our moods can be more changeable, which is a quality of the wilderness in ourselves. We are an animal. Changeable moods as we align with the music that is playing around. We play together with the song of our environment. That's Aini, being in flow. And being in flow is not just harmony. Being in flow is being aligned. Sometimes the music gets dark. Sometimes the music is a joyful chant for the spring, but sometimes it's a dense and tense music. As we are open to that, we can resonate with it. And finally, that this is the most important thing, to pay tribute to that dialogue and allow this alignment to affect our decisions. That's the most important thing, because we are used to, from our education, from our culture, think that our decisions comes from our mind, our capability of understand situations and impose our intention, our will, our desires, and take decisions, right? We take decisions because we want something, we want some outcome from any choice. But when we are in this flow, when we are resonant with the flow, we realize that every choice we make not just affect me, but affects the music that we are part of. So a decision is shared. As we are open to receive the inspiration of whatever is going on around me, a wind, suddenly a change of wind that says, humming in my ears, whispering in my ears, don't go up because you're gonna find a storm. The same thing happens when we go to, you know, a silly thing, go in this street and suddenly we perceive that we have to turn right. I don't know why. Just letting it go and find the flow. And you're walking to your job and you want to get early because you want to be more efficient and blah blah blah. And suddenly you meet an old friend and he says that he's sad. And if you're not paying attention to the flow, you're gonna dismiss this friend because you are in this way, your own little world, to get what you want. But if you are just allowing the intervention of the world in your life, you can take different decisions. You can sit down at least for a moment with your friend, and maybe from that conversation that enables changes in yourself, not just in your friend, and make the world more breathable. Hello, Eric. So nice to see you here. Being breathable to the world, not just with our nostrils. Breathe with our skin, breathe with our sight, breathe with our ears, with our hair. Our dreams breathable, our projects, everything we project in the future, breathable with the world, with the landscape, with the seasons, with the other beings that are part of our life. There's a language in the high Andes that allows that alignment in a full intention of celebration and delicacy and deepness, which are the riches of offerings. We talked about this the last meeting we had about rituals. The rituals. This is called Haiwarikuis. Haiwarikuis. Haiwarikui are very. I fall in love of this from the first time I participate on these rituals. especially because we went to this um, to this mission of putting solar panels into the Keros Nation families' houses. We went there. We planified this for many months. We gathered the money. We get to the place, and it started to rain, heavy rains, and we had just 10 days in the high mountains in Keros. To that was my planning to install all these solar panels, and it was rain the first day, the second day, the third day, and I was worried and sad because we couldn't end our project, install the solar panels. And this master Matthias told me we should make an offering to the Apus. Apus is the name of the spirits of the mountains. And I said, okay, whatever you think is good, just let's do it. I didn't know what it was it. So at night, we got into a very small hut. Actually, it was a hut made of stones and, and thatch roof and a little light. And they started to bring about paper and little envelopes with seeds and sugar and beans and candies. And we spent like 2, 3, 4 hours, I don't know how much time, creating this kind of mandala, symbolic and sensorial, very sensual, colorful mandala. At the moment, I didn't understand too well what is going on, but they made all these and they chant, they pronounce words that I couldn't understand. And they, at the end, after they made this envelope, like a letter, they said, this is a message to the Apple. So it seems to me like they were making this package to the apples. They passed this package through our bodies, saying that we should deliver all our pain, our worries, our dense energy to the package. And finally they burn it. And I was so surprised. What's the point of burning it? From that moment, I wanted to understand that. I wanted to get into it. And I've been for the last 15 years trying to find the language of the Haiwarikus as a way of opening ourselves to the delicacy of the music of the landscape, the place we live, the territory. The territory has a saying: as soon as we get into this song, this flow, this music, we will take better decisions, not just for us, especially for the rest of the actors of this game. Actually, when I say this, maybe you will realize what I'm pointing out. We are in a difficult situation because we forgot the dependence of the community of the earth. And as we keep going into this encapsulated life, we are creating tension that translate in ecological crisis, climate change, and 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 answers back from the territory to us. So I think it's so important to create possibilities to engage, to communicate back, to honor the intentions of the other actors, alive actors, animated actors. The Haiwarikus, the offerings, the Andean offerings, are one of the most beautiful ways I found to perceive this flow. I've been teaching and using Haiwarikus as a way of healing myself, healing my family, healing other people. And I would like to share with you this experience in, well, in a format that it will be more easy to find. It's easy to share, which is an online course. I'm going to send you the link for the course. It's going to start in the 20th of September. I've been doing this course for some time, and I think it's something beautiful, especially because it's an experiential course. We make offerings during the course. Every gathering, you learn a different kind of offering. And as we play with different elements, with a playful attitude, in Quechua it's called pukliai, like the attitude of playing is essential for magic, for magic in the sense of trying to connect with these forces that organize everything around me, even my own life, and align with them, that kind of magic. So this playful attitude is something that I enjoy a lot, and I saw many people enjoying to find connection through the offering. So I'm going to send the link here in the chat, and I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. And I'm going to send some more information in the WhatsApp groups. So if you feel that it could be something interesting, enjoyable, something that could nourish your spiritual path, your therapeutic path, your healing path, I think the offerings are a beautiful way, not the best, not the unique, not the exclusive way, just a beautiful and real expression, language to recover the dialogue with your territory, with your landscape, with your magic territory. So just take a look into this site. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me through WhatsApp or Instagram, or even a message here in the YouTube. And I'm gonna be pleased to join you expressing yourself through the language of offerings. So I thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. And I hope to meet you next time, next meeting, next Kai class. Always an excuse to keep finding ways of recreating dialogues between us and the dialogue from us to the rest of our world. So I thank you, and see you next time.